And here we are, 2015. We have entered into the 21st century, and we still have the same mindset of the 1700s. We are still permanent victims. We visit success and then go back to poverty. Visit success, go back to poverty. God will bless you, right? And then you go right back into the poverty, expecting him to bless you again. And God is saying that once I take you into the blessing, you ought to not only enjoy the blessing, but develop a plan to stay there. I stood up here, I don't know how many years ago, and I said I had been made aware of something that was happening in America. That there was a shift from going to the movies to staying home and seeing first-run movies on your computer. There were 3 major companies that were investing heavily into this particular venture. That they were laying the fiber optic cable starting in the Midwest of the United States and feeding it out to each coast. I named the companies at that time. One of the companies was Disney. I said, you should scrape up money and buy Disney. Told the people. I did it. Bought it at 26. It is now over 120. They went out and bought other companies. Sony went out, which was the other company, and bought Netflix. And Netflix became the thing that whenever you buy a television or a DVD player, Netflix is on there. So you can watch stuff at home. People said, this will never catch. People want to go to the movies. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, folks started shooting people in the movies. Then people said, I ain't going to movies no more. I'm going to wait for the DVD. I'm getting paid. I'll send you my messages from a beach in Hawaii. God bless you, Bethel. Here's the word of the Lord. Be right up on TV. Because God, listen carefully, is not a God who has a knee-jerk reaction. He's a God who plans your success while you're in the midst of success. Hear me. In the book of Genesis, the Bible said that Pharaoh had a dream. He was Pharaoh. He was over everything. He had a dream. The dream showed 7 fat cows being followed by 7 skinny cows, and the 7 skinny cows devoured the fat cows and stayed skinny. The fat cows were Democrats. Tax and spend. The skinny cows were Republicans. They came and ate up all the things that the Democrats gave you. You've been waiting for a Democrat to continue Franklin Roosevelt's presidency. You had it for 8 years under Bill Clinton. You lost it under Ronald Reagan. Lost a lot more under George Bush. Prayed that Obama would give it back to you. And so you're bewildered, bewitched, disappointed that not only a Democrat, but a black man couldn't give you the economic position that you wanted. But there is a man who gave you unlimited access to prosperity and success, who died that you could have access to the throne of God and get everything you need, enough to not only bless yourself, but to give to those who don't have. let me go on. Jeremiah 29. I'm only going to do that because we got church tonight and I want you to come back. But watch this, Jeremiah 29. Jeremiah, he has an unenviable job. He's got to preach correction. Nobody wants to listen to correction. We love the mediocrity of consistent melancholy behavior. Some of you that are going to college, you skip over the hard stuff and take the basic stuff because you don't want to deal with the hard stuff. But you can't graduate without the hard stuff. Life, we look for the easiest way. Always looking for detours. I don't want to sit at no lights. I'm taking another route. Don't matter if it's 5 miles out the way, but you don't want to sit at a 60-second light. So you go all the way around. Ain't no lights. Yeah, but you just spent a quarter tank of gas while I'm sitting at this light not burning anything. That shows something about your character. You think it's faster. No, you just have no patience. So here's what God's going to do. When you go around that way and take that detour, he's going to have some traffic there to stop you. Now you can't go nowhere. And you wind up, then that flag person is there, sending you right back to the road that you came off of, telling you we're tearing up this street. We are so comfortable as a people. We are so comfortable with mediocrity. Even in our spiritual walk, we just want to do enough to get to heaven. We don't want to be trailblazers. That's one thing that bothers me about this country. I'm a historian by hobby, and I study the history of this nation. This nation was formed and forged on the backs of individuals who took risk, who took chances, who struggled through adversity. Even the Pilgrims came over, and on that long sailing from England, and they endured storms, and they were sick because they weren't used to being on the long boats for that amount of time. They were sick, and many died in the process. And when they finally landed in the country called America, they were met with a horrible snowstorm that did not allow them to even plant crops. And they wrote what's called the Mayflower Compact, and that simply says we're going to take care of each other. They knew then that the secret to victory was being able to have somebody to lean on. That's as biblical as it comes. And then God, in his mercy, he doesn't just miraculously cure the ground. He sends Indians to teach them how to plant corn and work the land. Are you ignoring your Indian? See, you may be broke because you're trying to do what you can't do. And God has people that he wants to send to you to help you, but pride won't let you listen. But he speaks to you through people. If you want to play baseball, to whom will you associate? People who can play baseball. Are you with me? Lord, help me here this morning. If you want to be proficient in anything, then you associate with the people who are proficient in that field. But why is it if you want to be successful, your boat is filled with unsuccessful people who don't want to be successful? I'll tell you why. Because you've allowed your culture to make you feel that you have an allegiance to deadbeats who want to stand on the corner so you can keep it real. I don't want to keep it real. I want to keep it successful. That store you hanging out in front of, I don't want to hang out in front of it anymore. I want to buy it. I want to own it. Lord, help me here today. Am I surrounded by the right kind of people, or do we have to have a purge in Bethel? How long you been going to that corner store, giving that person money and feeding their family and caring for them? When will you ever develop a consortium and buy that store? How did Dunkin' Donuts go from that one little coffee shop just selling donuts to almost a supermarket now being owned by people from faraway Asia? And you've been here all of your life because you thought by coffee, they thought by the chain. And you want God to make you successful. Read Deuteronomy chapter 28. No, read Jeremiah chapter 29. You ain't ready for Deuteronomy until you are understanding Jeremiah. Jeremiah said, I don't want to tell these people all this bad news. God said, you got to tell them. Jeremiah said, I ain't telling them no more. I'm sitting down, I ain't saying nothing. But the word is like fire. And it had nothing to do with sending you to hell. Oh, I got to tell you, the word is like fire. You going to hell. No. That's not what he was impregnated with. Why do we think that having a sermon on hell means I've walked with God? My parents didn't beat me all the time. Sometimes Daddy took me to baseball games. Check this out. I remember when my father had to spank me. I remember it. But I also remember where I was when the first man landed on the moon. I was in Connie Mack Stadium. I was sitting on the first base line with my daddy, standing up, clapping our hands when they announced it over the loudspeaker that we had a man on the moon. Now, I can't give you every detail about the beating, but I can tell you where we sat. Why? Because I remember the good times. I remember going to Fairmount Park and watching the cricket matches with the West Indians because my daddy was Jamaican, and I remember going out there. I remember going downtown, and when he was working as a construction union carpenter on those buildings, I remember getting on those elevators and going upstairs, up on the elevator to see him working his job. Oh, yeah, he did beat me, but he also did stuff to let me know he loved me. You see, too many of us are worried about going to hell, and God is saying, come on, let me bless you. Come on, let me take you someplace higher. Let me lift you. Let me heal you. Let me open your heart and fill it with my love. I know you've been broken. I know, lady, I know your heart is broken from what that man did to you. I know, man, your heart is broken for what that young lady did to you. But come to me and let me give you love and peace. I want you to be successful. I don't want you to walk around with that scar on your heart forever. I want to heal you. But that doesn't fit the Pentecostal church. See, Pentecostals like to hear you're going to hell if your hair is too long. Women, you shouldn't wear a man's garment. Shouldn't have on pants. You shouldn't go to the beach. You shouldn't bowl. You shouldn't skate. You shouldn't do anything but go to Blue Mountain. Well, I guess I'm going to hell because I go other places. And my philosophy is very simple. God made the world. And I'm tired of sinners going to my daddy's world. So by the time you get to Jeremiah chapter 29, he's pretty much worn out. And so God says, all right, here's what's going to happen. They ain't listening, so I'm going to put them into Babylonian captivity. Why the Babylonians? Why not somebody sensible? Because the Babylonians will make you repent. If God is going to put you in some kind of correction, you best believe it's going to be a good correction. Babylonians used to cut off your leg up by your hip, and they would stick you in the ground so the leaking blood would draw big red fire ants that would bite you the rest of the time you were in that ground. They were horrible, nasty, arrogant people. And God said, all right, I'm going to have you, my children, to be in bondage to them for 70 years. But God is always looking to heal his children. My mother beat me one day after I changed my red E's into blue B's. She beat me with an ironing cord, and the ironing cord was gathered at the bottom and taped. And one of the pieces of the ironing cord came out and scratched me across my face. She didn't mean to do it. It was just, in her flow. It just came out. And it just shoot right across my face. And I was light-skinned, so it left this red mark right across my face. Well, I knew I had her then, so I was going to go out and get pity. We didn't have DHS in those days. I ain't had nobody to call, but I was going to go outside. But after Mama finished correcting my behavior, she went into the bathroom medicine cabinet, and she brought out a bottle of methylate. And she wanted to cure what she had wounded. So she's standing there with the methylate on a cotton ball, talking about, stand up here. Listen to this. Stand up here and let me fix this. And I'm like, no, I want everybody to see what you did to me. She said, stand up here. Listen to this. Why you make me do this to you? It wasn't until several years later that I understood that she was right. Most of us walk into judgment with God because we make him do it to us. We disobey his command and we walk in disobedience and things happen. Or the amens left. So God says, all right, now you're going into captivity with the worst people that I could ever put you in. He said, however, just to show you that I'm God and I'm still on your side. He said, I want you to prosper. I want you to build houses, get married, have youngins. I want you to become so successful that the people will know that I'm with you even during your bondage. Now flip forward a few thousand years and ask, how is that working out for us? Here's what God is saying. God says, all right, I'm going to let you get laid off next week. All right, so don't fight it. When they give you the slip, lift it up to me and say thank you. He said, but here's what's going to happen. I'm going to meet your needs so successfully. I'm going to bless you so significantly that the people who were laid off with you will wonder how you're still paying your mortgage when they lost their house. How are you paying? Matter of fact, how are you driving your car? How are you walking in health? And listen, God says, I'm going to fix it so you won't even need hospitalization. I'm going to heal you so significantly that everybody's going to say, what happened to that condition that you had? God said, it's in stasis. Because you're my child. And the negative situation does not remove my power over your territory. God wants you to be successful, but it won't work until you declare it's my time for success. And you better not declare it thinking you're going to walk out of here and find a bag of money, because God can do that. Yes, he can. God can do that. God can do that. God can do that. But watch this. He'd rather not. He'd rather not. Jesus only multiplied the fishes and the loaves 2 times. He only raised 3 people from the dead. He doesn't do all that stuff all the time. He could have done it all the time. Yes, he could. But he chose not to. Why? He was hoping that you would develop the principles so that you could do it yourself. So that you can walk into your own house and say, Father, I'm down to my last loaf of bread and mayonnaise. Show me what to do. And see, let me tell you what maturity is. Y'all ain't, Lord, yes you are. Yes you are. Let me tell you something. God dropping it down to you is not maturity. That's babyism. I can't get nobody. Pastor Love say, I can't get no help. Let me tell you, listen, you wake up in the morning, there's a bag of money at your bed. Ow, glory to God. You go off in tongues. Cash. Woo, glory. That's baby. That's for somebody who don't know God's other methods. Y'all ain't hearing me. You hearing me? Watch this. Here's maturity. God, I have a need. Here's the need. And then God uses a sinner to meet your need. Somebody who has been wanting you to fail. God, maturity is the person who sent you the note that they're going to repossess your house, calls you back to say there's a mistake. Your house is paid off. You never even saw the money, but God took care of it by using the very person who told you you were going to lose it. The same doctor who told you you were going to die will call you back and say, I made a mistake. I read it wrong. What happened? Y'all better listen to God. Listen to God. He tells the children of Israel, when you get into bondage, he says, buy houses and build houses and live in them. Plant gardens and eat the fruit. Get married and have children. Then get your children married so they can give you sons and daughters. Why? So that you may be increased there and not diminished. Lord, this is going to bless your socks off, so pull them up tight. God is saying that your trial should never diminish you. You ought to come out of that bad time with more than you went in. You ought to come out of there with more praise, with more peace, with more joy, with more stuff than what you went in, because the God that you serve, don't let that thing beat you down. If the devil is successful in beating you down, then every time you slip into trial or testing, you will be defeated before it starts. But if you've mastered this principle, devil, you got me beat up right now. Devil, my situation is a little negative right now. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to build me some houses. I'm going to seek the peace of God. I'm going to lift my hands and give him praise. I'm going to invite God down into my situation. And the only way to get God into your situation is to give him praise, because he inhabits the praises of his people. Because we still have that slave mentality. Lord, I need somebody to process this. You came from a nation of kings. Do you understand that? It was our ancestors ruling Nigeria. Our ancestors ruling Zimbabwe. Our ancestors ruling Egypt. Our ancestors ruling a continent. They brought us here and made us slaves by changing what we thought of ourselves, so that when you were freed, you still thought like an American. You didn't get your king thoughts back. You still had your servant thoughts. Now God saved you and made you a king. You say, hold it, Jesus is king. No, he ain't. No, he's not. Jesus is King of Kings. That means he's got to have some kings. He's got to have some kings. Are you hearing me? And before I can rule a kingdom, I've got to rule my spirit. Sit down, sit down. Watch this. This position does not start with you having a lot of money. It starts with basic stuff. The first thing it starts with is your posture. See, most of our people walk around like they're expecting to die. Psychologically, public speakers are told that if you want people to believe you and to have confidence in you, lift your head and roll your shoulders back. Because if you can stand up while you're promoting something, what you're saying is my philosophy works.
If you believe God for a miracle and you know we can do the impossible, shout yeah.
I believe God for a miracle.
And if you trust that he'll do what he said he would, in the end it will work out for your good, shout yeah. Ooh, Lord.